Senator Ayo Arishe. Senator Ayo Arishe is a dynamic ICT expert, a respectable planner, incisive politician, philanthropist, and an astute businessman. Senator Ayo Arishe's pioneering role and foresight in the incorporation of card technologies and the subsequent establishment of the first third-party processing facility in sub-Saharan Africa for MasterCard International paved the way for the issuance of MasterCard by banks in Nigeria to their customers. This opened up the door of opportunities for Nigerians to embrace e-commerce as it is known today in Nigeria. This exclusive interview with Don Pedro Agambi, he bears his mind on the state of the Nigerian tech space. Stay with us.
I was running a training school in Atlanta, and the Nigerian students coming in were actually paying with their credit and debit cards. More of credit cards in those days than even debit. Now, the idea that this could be replicated in Nigeria and the fact that the internet just started was we only had the likes of Amazon and a few other locations where, like eBay, where goods and services were being sold and people were using their cards to transact business on those locations. And I felt, how would a Nigerian who does not even have a card, a financial card for that matter, transact business in this kind of environment on the internet? And so that informed me in calling MasterCard and Visa, and they suggested that before we could issue cards to Nigerians, they could not be issued from the diaspora, in which case if a diaspora bank wants to issue, cannot do what we call cross-border issuance. So it has to be a Nigerian bank that is issuing the card. And I now pressed further, how do we issue a card from Nigeria? I said, well, you will require a processing facility. And usually they have schemes called the third-party processor. And that's how I became the first licensed third-party processor in sub-Sahara Africa. That was how I approached the US Exim Bank, collected about $2 million, which was actually what we call the contingent liability, was actually transferred to Nile Bank in those days because of my friend who was there, who decided to assist in ensuring that this business, took off in Nigeria. And of course, as a result of the need gap for Nigerians, that is what informed me in coming in. And we started. And of course, during Obasanjo's regime, by the time, before Baba became president, he had visited Atlanta. And we had told him all we want is an enabling environment for us to do business. We are not looking for handouts or, some fraudulent contract. And I said that would be assured. And that was when I needed a VSAT license to communicate with St. Louis, the headquarters of MasterCard. I approached the NCC, it was relatively new then, and Ndukwe was the CEO. And I just went in there, made inquiries, and I said, it's going to take 90 days, and we don't have to do anything out of the ordinary. So I applied. Lo and behold, 2.5 months later, I was called up. I should pick up the VSAT license. In those days, used to cost like 10 million naira, which was quite a bit of money in year 2000. So that was paid, and we started gradually. It was First Bank that first of all partnered with us, but we now saw that EcoBank was actually moving faster ahead of First Bank in terms of the belief in what we are trying to do. And so that's how EcoBank became the first bank to issue MasterCard in Nigeria to Nigerians, and followed closely by the likes of course, First Bank, GT Bank, we had UBA, we had Standard Trust, the two of them much later. So it's now become history now. And based on that platform, development started moving up in the electronic transaction industry. So Nigerians could actually buy and sell online. It was not easy. We had to be calling most of those merchants. And of course, Amazon was a merchant to say, okay, now banks, transactions coming from Nigeria are not fraudulent transactions. Please accept those payments. Gradually, most of those things were manual in the starting days. So today, I don't think we have such problem, even though there is still this IP location, blockage that happens every now and then, because some merchants would rather say, no, we don't want any transaction outside this particular IP range. If it's not from North America or from Europe, they might say no. But by and large, Nigeria has evolved, and we thank God for where we are today. And of course, it's my great honor to be the person that pioneered that in this country. Well, there is nothing that can be short of praises for the growth and the development of that electronic transaction industry that is actually built on the backbone of the card industry in the country. I think the growth has been phenomenal. The figures in terms of transaction volume is actually mind-boggling. Many people have become billionaires, I'm talking of even dollar billionaires in the course of this journey. So I believe when compared to other nations, Nigeria has actually proven that it can do some things right. There'll be problems here and there, which will probably be technological problems, transactional problems, operational problems. But by and large, in that industry, I think I'm very happy to be one of the pioneers. We didn't expect the phenomenal growth that that industry has witnessed in this country. So most transactions are now many people don't even know how all this started. But it's now second nature for you to say you want to use a POS, you want to collect money, you are looking for a POS person, you want to go to the bank to collect money. But there are challenges here and there that things could still have improved further, and it could have gotten better. But in terms of where we are today, I think the industry, through many of the interventions even of the central bank, has grown phenomenally. And I think I'm happy with the status that we have as of today. I don't see any reason for this multipurpose card. That's my view. I've been in the card business for so long, and I know it's neither going to add anything or deduct anything from the way what we are in terms of value added. I believe, just like the social security system in the US, NIMC should just take to registration of Nigerians. When you talk about multipurpose card, a bank card, the financial industry, the banks everywhere in the world are the ones issuing financial cards to their people. So NIMC is not going to become a financial institution. And I don't see how they want to manage, the fallout of this multipurpose card. So some people have argued that it's good that you have your bank account, you have your driver's license, you have everything on one card. Apart from the fact that economically, for the growth of any nation, that is a no-no. Because one, you are depriving states from getting revenue from issuing driver's licenses. That is one very big one. Number two, you are looking at it that, okay, a bank that is issuing a card to their customers. So you are now saying, let them collect a multipurpose card. How many multipurpose cards would an individual carry if you have 3, 4, 5 different bank accounts? So in essence, you look at it that, okay, if somebody gets hold of one card and is able to crack into it, that person has cracked into your bank, has cracked to your details as an individual. So the best practices that I know, I've discussed this with many of the people in charge of this business, and they know my position about it. For me, from day one, I've said, look, when NIMC started giving some banks opportunity to brand NIMC cards, I told them it's not going to work. So if you give grant license to 6 banks, for example, to be issuing NIMC cards and branding it either MasterCard or Visa, whichever way you look at it, then what about the other banks? So you are now moving customers away from the other banks, and they say, oh, I want a NIMC card, I want a NIMC branded card. I think giving national identity card to Nigerian nationalities, to Nigerian people, it's the business of NIMC. When you start tingling with financial cards and all that, you are just bringing complications that you cannot even manage the fallout of it. That's my own position. It might not be the position, the management of NIMC, they have their own reasons why they're looking for a multipurpose card. It has been tried in the past, it has failed. So it does not mean that it will not work under the present management. The focus now should be, let us get as many people as possible registered, having the national ID, national number, because I think we're still at about 120 million, if we're that many already that have been captured. Now, the focus, capture as many as possible up to 200 million, because I believe our population is in that range. It might not be up to that 240 that can be documented. And so the networks, when each person will carry 2, 3, or 4 telephone numbers, might not be a good record to look at when you look at the population of people that have telephones in this country. So there are some things that need to be looked at. You look at the pros and the cons. What value does it add? The person that has his debit card today can go to any POS and collect money. That does not disturb the fact that his card is in his pocket. And that card, you can put a BVN number on it, on the multipurpose one. You can put a driver's license number on it. And the driver's license, again, you have to go and learn how to drive first. So you either taking money away from FRSC, as it were, which I think this government should actually decentralize and cancel it. The states should be able to give driver's licenses, and that would actually jump up their internal revenue generation. It is this idea of unifying everything in the country and looking at, the federal government has to do everything. I had a suggestion while I was in the Senate. Somebody was coming out with a bill that the federal government should buy ambulances that will be plying the roads. So I said, wait a minute. Ambulances are attached to hospitals. And what has the federal government got to do with that? If somebody is sick in my village, are you going to be calling a federal body before you now get an ambulance service coming, to your house to pick you up, to take you to the hospital? So there are so many things that we try to look at, without thinking deeply about them, that are not the best practices. So for me, I have looked at it. But good enough, I understand the way this one is designed. The federal government does not have to pay for it. Anybody that needs the multipurpose card will have to pay for it. That is one relief off the neck of the government. But in the past, the government was paying for those cards, and they now got the support of one or two banks. I believe Access Bank has worked on that type of card before. UBA has worked on it. So I said, how do you want to resolve the issue? I bank with First Bank. I'll go and take a multipurpose card that says I'm a customer of First Bank, right? Now, then I open an account with UBA. Would I go and take another multipurpose card from UBA that says I'm a customer of UBA? Or are you going to be writing the applications, submitting your card for the upgrade of the applications to have multiple accounts on your system? These are complications that you can look at it as they're completely unnecessary trouble, even for the organization, for the federal government organization. You don't need it. So let them focus on issuing national identity cards and be sure that we are able to understand that that's your national identity card. Anywhere you take it, you are already identified. So if you want to collect money from your bank, it should be a means of identification. That will now combine with your bank account number or your BVN number, as the case might be, for them to do what you call a thorough know your customer, the KYC, then as we call it. So that is my own very personal opinion. Whatever they want to do that they think, would help the government, fine. But I don't see how this kind of policy and this printing will, first of all, shrink the economy, or make sure that you are concentrating what these banks are getting, and in which case, even the employment that they're generating. By the time you start taking some of these things, they had spoken a few weeks before the government change. I spoke about the CBN trying to issue a card under Emefiele. Yes. I said, what is the business of the central bank in issuing a card when the banks are there? They are the ones interfacing with their customers directly. Unless you want to turn the CBN to a retail banking institution. So some of this is not just coming up. My position has not changed on them. I am still waiting to be convinced that it is the right step. And let them tell me, apart from some of these small countries, which developed nation in the world does not have a driver's license, have a national identification number, or have an account number that you can go to the bank and get. So that is my position on that NIMC proposition.